This is going to be a short video showcasing all the mods I've made for the reMarkable. I'm currently showing it on a Paper Pro Move, but they're applicable on all devices. To start off with is the fave tag button. So on the bottom, you can see two extra entries on the pill thing that reMarkable has had for a bit. So all these do is reduce the number of tabs needed to get to the favorites and the tags. So you can just tap here on the tags, tap here, you're in favorites, instead of going here and clicking the options from the menu. Another thing I've done is, if I go to settings and go to accessibility, is these settings for colors on all the tools, the highlighter tool and the shader tool. I'll show how they work in just a sec, but first I need to go back and open Notebook. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice is this. The toolbar icon now shows the currently set tool, the color, and the thickness of the pen. So here right now I'm at medium thickness 2 for a ballpoint pen. Now if I switch to, let's say, the eraser, if I switch to different sizes of the eraser, it will show up here with the stroke size. If I go to selection tool, it shows up here, right? Even when minimized. And the other things that are available are gestures. So for example, there's the 4-finger tap that opens up the document drawer. There is the bottom right 2-finger swipe. So you take 2 fingers from the bottom half, swipe up, switch between the pen and selection. So you can go, let's say, write this, go selection, and then select, move it around. There's also another gesture that does the same thing, that is from the left edge if you're in right-hand mode, or right edge if you're on left-handed mode. You swipe diagonally from the center down and you get selection tool. So selection, and then if I do this, now I'm on pen. Now for the bottom left half, with 2 fingers swipe up, you get the eraser, currently set eraser tool. So if I go open the menu, go and set it to the selection erase, it will now switch between the pen and the eraser. And the same can be done, so if I go back, with a diagonal swipe from this left edge or right edge, depending on the handedness. So now it's erase, now it's back to the pen. Another gesture where you can swipe along the edge. So if I swipe long, now what happens is, swipe long, the thickness of the pen increases. So if I do bottom, if I do a long swipe, you have to keep the finger on the screen, otherwise there's another gesture, but okay. Long swipe and long swipe. Now this is a thickness, that is, if I go to the menu, you'll see it's not thin or medium. So if I go for thin and show it to you, this is what it looks like. If I go for medium, this is what it looks like. But if I do the gesture, which is a long swipe along the edge, it's a bit finicky, but when it works, it's really nice. You can see it's a bit in between. You need to put a bit more pressure to notice it, but yeah. And as for the colors that I showed in the settings earlier, you can do a short swipe along the edge, which is more reliable. Now it's black, and if I do one more swipe, it should be red. And if I do one more swipe, now it's blue. And if I do the opposite swipe, it goes in the order and it's black. And now to show the main thing that's available is the floating toolbar and the layers toolbar. So I'll start with the layers because that's easier to show. And go here, you can see the layers floating toolbar. Tap it, see this pops up. Now there's a couple of options here. So I'll go from top left to the right. So this is what you hold to move it around. You can use the hand or the pen, doesn't matter. You can press and hold to minimize it. So if you want to keep it here but not use the space until you need to use it, it's simple as that. This hides the background of the note or the PDF, depending on the context. This adds a new note page, simple as that. This one adds a new layer. So if I'm drawing here, and then let's say I switch color, and then I add a layer, and then I write here, you can see the red is above the blue. But if I use these arrows to move it down, now you can see the black is above. And if I usually in the layers you can rename these. So if you set names to these and you want to keep track, you can just press and hold here, the name pops up. Press and hold here, name pops up. You can hide each layer directly, you can merge them from here, you can delete each layer, and that's all that is available there. This one is the grid view, and then this one is the template. If you want to switch up templates every other page. And I'm just going to move this to the bottom left. Right. Now I'm going to show the real important feature, which is the quick tools or the floating toolbar, depending on who you ask. If I enable this, okay, so this is a already populated version. I'm just gonna see if I can find one that's, yeah, okay, this one's more empty. Let's select this tool, empty it. So usually when you start off using for the first time, a pop-up will come over with the link and a QR code to my GitHub. I'll show you how to use it. But for now, it doesn't show up because it's already been set up. The usual flow is, if you want to add a tool with a predetermined color and thickness, you press and hold here with the tool selected. So if I want to add this, press and hold here. Right. And then you can move it around, keep it here, minimize it, all this stuff. And if you want to, first I'll show the other ones. And if you want to add like the eraser tool, you just press and hold here. Right in there. If you want this, press and hold, it's already on there. If I go here, press and hold, it's already there. If I want to add undo, press and hold, it's already there. Undo and then press and hold, it's already there. Now, other than these two, currently all these tools here can be rearranged. So if I, let's say, select this, press and hold, these arrows pop up. So the currently selected object would be moved around with these arrows. If I want to move this to the beginning, if I want to keep this here, etc. But if I want to remove it, at least for these ones, press and hold here and it's gone. For the undo and redo buttons, however, you have to press and hold here. So I'm going to just remove the arrows. So these do the operations as usual, but if you press and hold, they're removed. That's similar behavior to some other features that I'm going to show real quick. So now, I think that's about it, yeah. But let's say if I want to add only a tool, in particular, so let's say if I want just the ballpoint pen, I can press and hold here. If I want to add a specific thickness, I can add it here and here. If I want a specific color, so here, here. And say I want to add a fine liner as well while I'm at it. Right. So now what happens is I have, just let it refresh. Yeah. So I have the fine liner tool and then all the color sets here and then thickness selection. So it can be, say I want right here and now I want slightly thicker option, I want slightly less thick, switch back and forth, then I'll switch color, then switch this color, switch to this tool now and then switch this color. Straightforward flow. And if I want, let's say if I just make things easier, I'm just going to show another tool. So now I have, okay, it's in white, so I'm just, right, and then I switch to the other colors, and very easy, very straightforward. And because of the way you might not need the same flow on every notebook, I've added presets. So right now, if I go here and select preset, what it does, it saves, do you have any of these tools open? Do you where they're located on the screen? So if I cycle preset, this is another one that I made. It's set here. I cycle again, and this one's empty because it was hidden in the preset. But if I want to make it visible, I can use a gesture. So I can swipe to the right on the top edge, and it shows up here. Swipe again, it's gone. And let's say, and if I put it off screen or want to just move it quickly, you can just swipe left and so it moves to the top. Right. And this also shows an example of the highlighter tool and the shader tool. So right now you can see all these red crosses. So the red crosses symbolize the colors you can't select with the currently enabled tools. So if I go to pen, pencil, and the marker, none of these can use these colors. But if I switch to the highlighter, you can see now these colors are available. So, and also it's really thick. I'll just make thing, yellow, blue, and then pink. But these ones are not available because they're for the shader. So if I click the shader, now these are available, and I can just select between these, and I can still change the thicknesses, no problem, the same toggles. And I believe that's about it. And then if you want, you can just save the preset, the position, and if they're enabled currently, you can reset the float bar here, and that's about it.